Hey friends, Ash here with Gents. Today we're going to be checking out Spicebomb Fresh or Eau Fraiche, depending on where you're from, by Viktor and Rolf. In case you're unaware, this is a fresher version of Spicebomb, which you probably already knew. But I'm going to break this fragrance down for you, let you guys know what I think about it, let you know if it's something you should check out or not. Check out the presentation, the usual stuff. And as I'm filming this video, it is almost the end of 2019. We're almost in 2020. It has been a crazy year. The channel has grown a lot more than I thought it would. Hopefully 2020 is just as good as 2019 has been. And I need to thank you guys for that. So thank you so much for the ongoing support. You guys are the reason that I keep pumping these videos out. Sometimes I can get a little bit burned out. And if I think about, taking a day off or taking a week off, I remember the comments that I get from people that say part of their daily routine is watching the videos that I put up, and that kind of keeps me going because I don't want to let you guys down. This month, December, I've basically done kind of a wrap-up of the year, lots of top 10 lists of most worn fragrances, the best releases, worst releases, all that kind of stuff. In January, it's probably going to go a little bit more back to normal. I'm still going to have lists like usual, like I've usually done, I should say, but not as much as in December because we're starting a new year, in just a couple days. So there's going to be more reviews, more niche and indie stuff that I'll sprinkle in, and hopefully those new releases that I've talked about here recently are going to be worthwhile. So with all that out of the way, a big thank you again to all of you guys just one more time, and let's jump into this. So, Spicebomb Fresh. This one doesn't get talked about quite as much. Spicebomb Extreme gets talked about the most. Spicebomb Night Vision gets hated on the most. And then the original Spicebomb is just kind of in the background, like, hey guys, remember me, Spicebomb? But then Spicebomb Fresh, everybody just kind of goes, oh yeah, that one. Or at least that's how it comes across to me. It doesn't get a lot of hype. And I understand the reason why is probably because it's been out for a number of years and hype usually follows the newer fragrances, but still. I picked Spicebomb Fresh up from Fragrance X back toward the beginning of December, I believe it was. I actually did a first impression of this as part of a miniature haul video, and I've been giving this a lot of wear since that video, so I could do this full review. Fragrance X, of course, one of my favorite discounters. They've got lots of niche and designer fragrances there that you can pick up on the cheap. Let's take a quick look at this presentation. I just hit myself in the nose. Sweet, very smooth. So here is a close-up of the box. You can see there, Spicebomb Fresh by Viktor and Rolf. Size and concentration down here at the bottom. Got the Viktor and Rolf logo. Looks kind of like a wax seal on the top of the box. You have this little stripe that goes along the sides of the box, just like in the others, or the others in the Spicebomb line, I should say. And then on the back, you'll find your ingredient information. And then on the bottom of the box, got your batch code right there. And here is a close-up of the bottle. Like all Spicebomb bottles, it has this little pull tab, like a grenade. Get it? Very cool. And you give that a pull, you can spray your fragrance. On the bottom, you got your sticker with your batch code. The Spicebomb bottles are very high quality. The glass is heavy, it feels good in your hand. The atomizer on this is good as well. Presentation is very nice for these. Spicebomb Fresh opens up like a fresher version of Spicebomb. Again, not really a surprise there. It has grapefruit that mixes in with black pepper and pink pepper. Spicebomb Fresh is appealing to me in the opening. It does things a little bit differently than your more basic citrus-centric summer fragrances that you'll smell, your more standard summer fragrances. That being said, where this has that Spicebomb DNA, it kind of throws me a little bit because I prefer that DNA in the original Spicebomb and in Spicebomb Extreme. What I mean by that is the way the DNA comes across, I prefer it in the warmer, richer, denser fragrances that are for cool weather. There's also a little bit of sea saltiness in the opening of Spicebomb Fresh, but it's more of a nuance, kind of sits underneath the citrus and the spices in the opening. As this dries down, you pick up an iced lavender note. That's the way that Viktor and Rolf describe it, iced lavender, which means that it's trying to give you kind of a cooling sensation, a refreshing sensation in the fragrance, and it does come across that way. The lavender here comes across pretty nicely. There's also tobacco in Spicebomb Fresh, which is again gonna be derived from the original Spicebomb. So if you have smelled the original Spicebomb, the tobacco note that's used there is very similar to the one that's used in Fresh. Obviously though, the tobacco in Spicebomb Fresh is toned down and dialed back as compared to the original. As you head through the rest of the mid, the grapefruit fades away, then you have an elemy note that comes in, mixes along with the tobacco and the fresh spices from the opening. It comes across at this point slightly fresh and a little bit sweet. In the dry down, Spicebomb Fresh softens up considerably, and the lavender starts to come across with a bit of airiness to it. And in that dry down, you also have this little touch of oak moss that starts to mix in with the tobacco that came in the mid. And in the dry down of Spicebomb Fresh, tobacco is actually what's most noticeable to me. So as I've said a couple of times now, Spicebomb Fresh is what it says it is. It is a fresh take on Spicebomb, that Spicebomb DNA. It has a more prominent peppery pop initially in the opening, and as it dries down, it has that iced lavender along with the bit of sea saltiness that you get in the opening and through the mid. And in exchange for those notes being ramped up more, essentially the cinnamon, the tobacco is toned down, at least in comparison to the original Spicebomb. And while it is a fresh type of fragrance, it doesn't come across ambroxany, which is what you'll find in a lot of fresh fragrances that are being released nowadays. And it doesn't come across like a citrus bomb, which I alluded to earlier, being your more typical summer wear kind of fragrance. And as well, this one doesn't have aquatic notes or sea notes, though it does kind of skirt around that a little bit with the sea salt. That sea salt can come across a little bit oceanic, depending on who's smelling it. Some people might say, oh, I get a little bit of a watery vibe, but it's not as prominent as you'll find in a lot of summer fragrances. And all of those things combined might make Spicebomb Fresh more appealing to a lot of guys out there because it doesn't fall into your more basic niche of summertime fragrances. Now let's talk about performance. And for me, it was actually not that good. A lot of people online say that they get great performance from Spicebomb Fresh, last all day, last all night, 10 plus hours, 12 plus hours, monstrous projection. I didn't get that. It starts sitting close to my skin about an hour in. So after an hour, sitting very close. Not much projection at that point. And longevity for me was in the 5-hour range. That's with me going with what I would consider a moderate amount of sprays, 4 to 5 sprays. That's with me going with what I consider moderate sprays, 4 to 5. So with 4 to 5 sprays of Spicebomb Fresh, I was pulling about 5 hours longevity. Now 5 hours of longevity isn't terrible, especially for a summertime fragrance. But when you have people out there saying they're getting 12 plus hours, basically that they're spraying this on at 8 a.m. and then at 8 p.m. the same day, it's still projecting where they can pick it up easily, I don't get anything close to that. With the original Spicebomb and with Spicebomb Extreme, I do get projection and longevity that's more in line with what some people online have said. This one though, not close. And in case anybody is wondering, my badge code is 62R20DN. That makes this bottle a February 2018 bottle, if you look that badge code up online. I don't play into reformulation hype typically. I don't give that much thought at all, if I'm being honest. Some people take the reformulation talk way too far. They think that every fragrance has been reformulated and everything has been watered down and everything is super weak. Some of you out there know what I'm talking about. Others out there don't know what I'm talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. Don't start reading up about fragrance reformulations because you'll drive yourself insane. I just wanted to throw this out there in case anybody was curious about when this bottle was made that I'm talking to you guys about. In terms of when I would use this, spring and summertime. Pretty much cut and dry. Now, if you wanted to, I think you could pull this off in colder weather. A lot of times, summer fragrances that have pops of freshness actually smell really good if it's cold outside. For whatever reason, those fresher notes, those more citric notes, can play off of the cold wind and give you just added refreshingness. Is that even a word? Refreshingness? Yeah, refreshingness. It's more of a daytime scent than it is a nighttime scent, though you could easily pull this off during the night as well. And for me, it's more casual than it is formal. Realistically though, use it whenever it makes you happy. Overall, Spicebomb Fresh for me is a like, not a love. In the hierarchy of spice bomminess, I put it above Spicebomb Night Vision, and I put it below the original Spicebomb and Spicebomb Extreme, which I think is the best Spicebomb. Now, as far as pricing here, Spicebomb Fresh is gonna be on the higher end as far as designers go. This is one of the brands, Viktor and Rolf, that is not discounted heavily. So even if you go to discounters, this is still gonna be above 80 bucks for this size bottle right here, which is 90 milliliters or 3 ounces. So unfortunately, this isn't one of those ones that I think I can tell you, yeah, take a flyer on it, blind buy it, which I typically tell you not to blind buy anyway. But with this one being close to 100 bucks, even at discounters, I think you definitely need to sample this one first. That being said, Spicebomb Fresh should not be too difficult to find. It's in most major stores in America that sell fragrances, you know, like Macy's and Belk and things like that. You can typically find Spicebomb Fresh. So if you're thinking about picking this one up and you've never smelled it before, do try to sample it first. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for me with my review of Spicebomb Fresh by Viktor and Rolf. As I said, solid fragrance, one I like, but not one that I would say I love. In the comments below, let me know what you think about this fragrance and where you put this one in the Spicebomb hierarchy. Do you like this more than the original, more than Extreme, or less? And do you think this is a better or worse fragrance than Night Vision? As always, guys, thanks so much for your support. Couldn't do it without you. Thanks so much for the success that I've had in 2019. I appreciate it so much, and I hope to make you guys proud in 2020. So I guess that's it. Thanks again. I'll see you guys again tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.